Hi, gentlemen. Good thing you showed up. You'll be able to present. I think I'm ready.
Ready?
Yes.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the December meeting of the Inland Wetlands Watercourse Commission. Audience, as soon as I don't think there's anybody on Zoom, Lisa, right? And
I do.
All right. So, and there's no minutes, Lisa?
No, you haven't met forever.
We haven't met for, okay. Well, then we'll start the regular meeting. And
Okay.
First one is application 22-10W, proposal by Connecticut Self-Storage of Berlin LLC to construct a commercial storage facility, discharge stormwater runoff in both an upland review area and wetlands on lot 13, block 119 at 2200 Berlin Turnpike. Who's up?
Propose self-storage.
State your name and where you're from and who you represent.
Okay, I'm Jay Fagacci, I'm an engineer, surveyor. With me is Alicia, he is the proprietor for self-storage. And we have been doing these in all the neighboring towns. We have a storage operation out of Meredith. We recently completed one little field on Meredith Road, kind of across the street from recently we finished one in Middletown, where the tractor supply is that.
Okay.
In Wolcott, near the Waterbury town line, Southington, I think we've got a little bit of experience. And we want to do it on a site here in Berlin. And the site is located off the Berlin Turnpike, near, like, near close to the American Point. And road here, the hotel built recently, all the dealership here, and a parcel, 7 acres, and it has a little bit of a wetlands right over here on the property. What we're trying to respect. Here is the concept. I trust you gentlemen have access to the submittal plan soon.
Could you speak up just a little bit, please? Sorry.
Yeah, okay, so this shows the overall concept. One office right over here, one entrance where there's an existing cut between the median of the Berlin Turnpike, and I kind of set for this one. We have high ground over here, which we pretty much all leave alone, which kind of sets this area. We're all 100 feet from the pavement to our building, so we can do a nice little buffer of trees, grass, because there's a little bit of a swale going to wetlands going this way. Try and hold back there. Come in, we have a little parking area for our office, and I'll describe this regarding, soils, but it's the same type of compression, water, as here that and go the natural way. The rest of the development right over here, in order to limit the impact of the footprint, so or if you would with the claims high, low, here at a 165 elevation, hold that elevation where this is a one-story building high. The second level, go down this way, go elevation 155, one-story building, the lower level, and all this water be allowed to sort of go this way. Here, right over here. You have a little bit of view on there. On your 50-foot point. So we have a water quality basin over here. Water quality basin have some kind of the architecture basin needed to this. It had goods on the basin, but it was like a cement, kind of a change that protocol suggested. You put in the
So please hand one to our secretary. Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you. That's fine.
mitigation. Rise where you find gravity. It seems like an interesting concept. Very tricky. When I use it here, I certainly watch it to see if they're superior to some of the other methods that I use. But it's an interesting concept. So again, what we're doing is we're also holding 91 feet toward the building from this property line, holding 91 feet from this property line. Is a nice buffer, as well as a water course over here. I may be fine. So we're looking to be able to maintain actual buffer that has benefits, benefits to the neighbors, and also the grading works with it. High, low, high again. So all those things seem to work. The environmental work was done by George Logan as part of our work to make the range computations and other things. He will be here. Any hearings or anything that might be set at this point. Have closures impact discharge from the retention pond because of water dependent water use because gravity, you know, you have underground here, you have a burn, you have to discharge this, so empty so I think we incorporated good motion sediment controls within the plan. I've done this many times.
What exactly are you gonna be able to store?
Everything is stored inside.
What are the limitations? Are they gonna be able to put cars? Are they gonna be able to put engines? Are they gonna be able to put?
I'm the expert.
I'm worried about, and if somebody's gonna put a car, there's gonna be runoff, there's gonna be gas, oil, things like that.
So hi, my name is J.R. Clisham, and I'm the owner of Connecticut Self Storage. Jim mentioned before, well, I'm from Avon, Connecticut. We have done, you mentioned the latest projects that we've done together. We did about a dozen before, the older ones that we sold. But this is, just to kind of reiterate, you said before I get to your questions, more of a newer, type of model. It has more street, a better street appearance. And anyway, having said all that, what are we going to store there? We have the same lease. We update pretty much every year. We use it at all of our locations. We prohibit the storage of anything that's hazardous, flammable, that type of thing. We have a manager on site.
Hey guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're fully staffed. Sundays we are not staffed. We're open 7 days a week for our customers, 6 to 10. And our staff is there from 9 to 6. So cars, yes, we like to store cars inside. The car storage inside. We typically, the way it goes is it's sort of tough to say, but we'll have only so many places that a car can possibly go. The majority of the square footage, or sort of the majority of the units, is going to be interior access. This building is 75 feet wide, so we're going to have 10 by 15s on the top, then you have 60 feet of interior. And on the bottom, we'll drive 10 by 20, and then 55 feet of interior. So then that's the bulk of the property there. But we will have the ability to store cars. As things kind of go, it's tough to put an exact number on it, but we will, I'm sure, get some people that want to store cars there. Over time, no one will have hardly any cars stored there because part of the business is that car storage is inherently short term, like college kids. Guys will come in, they'll put their car in there from, December 1st until April 1st, and they want out. Over a couple of years, what happens is people will come in and they'll want that drive up large unit, but we only have so many, they're going to want it. They're not going to move out, maybe they'll want it for 1 or 2 years. So your short-term people, which are your car storage people, will move out, and other long-term people will move in. But we don't allow any outdoor storage of anything. No campers, boats, cars, no. Everything is indoors. And no maintenance. So it kind of goes with, there's no tag sales, no, jacking up your car and working on it, no changing the oil on your motorcycle, none of that. We have managers on site who do that. We have cameras too. So we see what happens. We're, fully secure like that as well. And I just, the business was started by my dad back in the 80s. And now it's me and my nephew. Father passed away recently, but we have a family business. We find that the best way to run these things is just to be there and be present, and that's the best way to make sure that everything I just said actually happens. And we manage our own places. We don't third parties have run it all ourselves.
So we actually physically observing what's going on. That's what you're saying.
We do. I mean, it's not, you're not going to have 30 people moving in a day. I think that's a total, it's a pretty slow moving business. And some people who's in, we're going to walk out there, how's it going, talk to them, look, see. We have several walk-throughs, two a day, and we have a big one every week. We're going to do a walk check as well. So we really walk the property. And if somebody is doing something that we don't like, we're going to know about it, and we're going to call them on it. And we also, we have month-to-month leases, so we don't, if somebody is not It's rare that it happens, but if somebody was doing something they didn't like, had no band practice, you know, you can ask them to leave.
Do the tenants have access to a water source?
No. No car washer. We have a bathroom in the office, and we certainly don't advertise that it's public to use. We'll have customers use it, but we're pretty stingy on people coming into the bathroom. We have once a month, once we use less water than probably any other structure in the town.
No, we will make it public water into a big building.
Sorry, we have sprinkler system, that's right. Usually we don't, but we have sprinkler systems, so we're gonna have.
That way you have some heated units.
We do. So again, everything that we have that's an inside unit, so I don't know how familiar you are with self-storage, but this will be drive-up units on the outside. We'll have what, 3 entrances, and then on the lower level, same thing. Everything that's inside, you open the door, walk in the hallway, it's lit, it's heated, it's cool. That's all. That's the climate control. Everything inside is climate control. Whenever there's a roll-up door to the outside, obviously it's not climate.
Elevation 165 to 155.
Yep. 10 feet or so. So it's a 10-foot, so
55 to the front, 65.
other way. Front's higher, then we go down, so we're at 165 here, then we go down to 155, 155, and we need to go up.
What's that translated?
Slope?
It's about
10%.
And we have several existing facilities that work well.
We've done I call it a bi-level building. We're doing 2 in there right now. As we speak, we've probably done at least 10 bi-level buildings in the last 20 years. I did some other things, how to waterproof the building correctly, all that stuff. We've really done a lot. We used to, and what your point was about the slope. Yeah, it's a pretty, this is a 75-foot building, so you have a little bit more run in order to make your rise. We've done this in there right now, we have a 60-foot wide building, so it's a little bit, you can see. Well, from there,
What do you do for storming? Storming will up here. Here's storming. I have a final plan that I have a function right over here. Here, this way I got snow. So, we've been fighting snow for 20 years. We learned a few tricks. Always want to have a place.
As far as the neighbors go, and I noticed in the picture when I read through your work that you did here, there's quite a few natural trees. Is there going to be a natural border of trees that block the neighbors' view of your facility?
Yes, that's why we went 90 feet. The normal setback is 50 feet. Definitely going to lose some trees here for construction, but we're still be able to maintain a nice border here.
So would you add supplemental trees in the event you have a bare spot?
We can. I don't know,
Like,
we really haven't had much of a certainly, I want to have the ability to place here. Everything is famous, but 90 feet, still have 20 foot area for people to go down, and still have nice.
So just in the large picture, aside from the drainage you mentioned up toward at the entrance of the property, which is going to drain,
There's a high spot right here.
that'll naturally follow the elevation to this wetland in the bottom right.
Let me be more specific if I may. with the shovels and just don't. You know? And then we have all the water quality, all the damage of this front yard, you know, do that. It's not really speed. Two, probably grass, old board here. Over here again, kind of bridge. Fort Bay area. Here we pick up this way. Fort Bay here. And then the water quality runs right in here. Discharge point here.
So is that kind of where the property drains now?
Yeah.
Prior to construction?
Yeah, the whole thing, you know, every drop of water runs across here.
But so all this paved and all the roof drains, they're all going through that detention basin. Where are you putting these things? Just making sure I understand.
Anybody, Billy, have anything? Anything else? Jim, you have anything? No volume, Jim.
Excuse me?
I said, do you have any questions?
No, the only thing I'll mention is that I've spoken with the applicant's engineer about a week or so ago and was requesting them to install the Abtech filtering devices and all the catch basins. Oh, good. Okay, great. Yep.
Yeah, he's gonna do that.
Haven't seen that yet. Then I think if you look at the memo that I put together, due to public interest, I would recommend, knowing that we have all those residential houses that back up on Toll Gate Road, I would recommend that the commission schedule a public hearing for the
Yeah,
January.
I was gonna suggest it, just for the fact that you got 8 houses, I guess, that really back up against it.
Yes.
Actually, if I could jump in on that public hearing, I noticed in the front of this particular manual that was printed, wetlands application for Connecticut self-storage. You go to the very back of it, they have a list of all the adjoining neighbors, and it's just not these few, there's quite a few here.
Well, there's probably stuff on the other side of the road.
What I'd like to see, because I've seen this blown up on applications for other things in town recently, is that, I know we send letters to everybody that it wants, but a postcard even with a picture of the project to each one of these people listed here, save us a lot of aggravation in the future.
Lesson learned.
Wetlands requires joiners.
Right.
Special permit planning and zoning has some kind of 500 foot buffer. And we are
That's
at
this
500 foot buffer. And earlier, yeah, may I?
Yes.
List that.
I think it's 250 feet.
Personally, I use a 500 footer.
Everything.
That's what I would recommend. Get it over with now. Once and done.
Happy to do it.
So, Jim, nothing else?
No, nothing else at this point.
We are gonna schedule a public hearing.
You need to take them.
Yeah, we'll vote on it, but can I have a motion to schedule a public hearing for this January meeting?
Yeah, Commissioner Rogan will make a motion for a public hearing for application 22-10W for the January meeting.
Can I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
I might add that in person is going to be my partner at work. Really, I will be out of state, but I will try to zoom in. Unfortunately, he will also be away. And so we're going to have in person as well as George Logan
Okay.
in person. And then we'll be.
As long as the questions that come up can be answered.
have a business
These
card
for you.
for him?
Yeah, he's got it.
Is it in writing on the application, maybe, or maybe it's on the edge of the print? Okay. The one that I have for the record.
Next up is application 22-11W.
You can email me.
Proposal by Teresa Denari, construct drainage improvements, discharge stormwater runoff within an upland review area on lot 88-4, block 91 at 354 Fort Rod Road.
Thank you.
Thank you for approval of the proposed subdivision. Which already exists.
It's okay, thanks.
Hoping that this system will prevent this lawn from flooding. And raise the adverse impact. Just as by way of background, the town maintains a culvert on Fort Rock Road. Discharges out of a drainage pipe on the property there. The volume of stormwater from that culvert has increased over the last couple of years as development has surrounded the property. And currently the stormwater that exits this drainage pipe is draining west to east, basically down this strip and then all over the lawn, which causes flooding and disruption before it eventually drains into that. So I actually visited the property a couple weeks ago after rain, and I completely ruined the boots that I was wearing and learned that they had holes in the bottom. I sloshing through on this strip here and went right through the bottom of the boots up to my socks. I've been raining all night, but at a mild clip, and it really was sort of, especially this particular strip, but then all the leaks equally from the back line. The drainage improvement plan that I'm presenting is the result of collaboration between the town and the applicant already. My understanding is that my engineer has visited the property and actually met with the engineers to get comments which were incorporated into the plan back in June. The improved system calls for the installation of an 18-inch pipe, which is fed by a storm manhole with a silt separator on an easement that would be conveyed to the town in order for them to come in and clean out that storm manhole. The drainage system includes a cleanup area at the end here, which would drain into a concave free-flowing riprap scour. This proposed discharge point is within the upland review area here, which is the nature of the activity. But just to repeat, the stormwater from the existing system, which starts here, is already draining over the lawn into that creek. So the improvements will remove sediment from the stormwater and reduce the flooding and destruction with no negative impacts to that. So that's really all I have. I'm happy to answer any questions.
So what's the length of the pipe extension?
Yes, and this is, I'd like to correct this from the application. My coverage, I said 600 feet. I was, at my map up on the screen, and it's not matched up to the scale. So this is right around 400 feet, I think 350.
She is doing this at her own cost, and
So yeah, the background's a little complicated. She didn't realize, so the town installed this pipe maybe back in the 50s. It's hard to say exactly. She disputed whether the town had any right to do that because they don't have a recorded easement on their property to do that. But then in response, the town said, well, there's since 1950, and so we have prescriptive easement to average possession type claim against it, which triggers title insurance. So technically, my client is her title insurance company. So I'm authorized on her behalf to present the application, but my client is really a title insurance company. So this sort of is a workaround to avoid, the potential for litigation about whether the town wants to maintain the
And that property owner where the new discharge point is, what's the impact to their property?
So the discharge point is still on Teresa's property.
But are they going to get, there's going to be a lot more volume of water at that point now. Is any of it going to flow? What is that?
I don't think so. Yeah, I was just looking at this topographical map here. When you get to right around the pool house, this all becomes very heavily wooded.
There's no homes there, correct?
There's no homes right where the discharge will be, but
Right.
these sort of strip homes are behind, but there's pretty extensive landscaping and natural woodlands. I think that, you know, the riprap scour hole velocity dissipation pad would address any, you know, ultimately the volume of water is going to be the same as traveling west to east.
Yep.
But I don't think there'll be a, you know, appreciable increase to the properties.
Jim, you have any problem with what they're doing?
No, not at this point. As the applicant mentioned, they're extending an existing culvert that picks up drainage essentially from a small portion of Four Rod Road in the area to the west of it within the Hatchery Brook condominium complex. There's an existing, if you look at it today, and I'm sure he had mentioned that I was having a hard time hearing, but the discharge point today basically runs through a ditch down to the wetland area. Yes, it meanders a little bit here and there, but as far as impacts on the abutting property owners on Winding Meadow, there should be no impact from our opinion.
And as far as what they're doing with the 18-inch pipe and the culvert, and you're okay with what they're doing as far as?
Yes, we are extending it. And it's a private system, so they'll be responsible to maintain it.
Right. But as far as the actual work being done, that's in accordance with what you're looking for?
Yes, it is. And not far from the discharge point, the drainage gets into the wetland, then it heads to the north. There's a culvert that runs north from the south to the north through Winding Meadow and eventually gets into Hatchery Brook.
Now, Jim, because there's no impact, you're saying, to the people on Winding Meadow, there's really no need for a public hearing, you think?
I don't see any impacts particularly on those neighbors. The commission, I think it's probably your call, knowing there's so many residents there. From a staff standpoint, I really don't see a need for a hearing, but then again, the neighbors that abut on Winding Meadow have had concerns in the past because of the way the water ran through that area. Again, if you schedule a public hearing, the applicant's not losing any time because you've got to wait a minimum of 14 days before you could take action anyway on the application. So it's a toss-up as far as scheduling a hearing.
The other thing I would add to that is I err on the side of over including for the abutters in the second element. But that doesn't include I think
You're primarily the backyard.
you're right. And I mean, these four neighbors, you would think their property is actually going to be drier at the back here.
Anybody, Bill, anything?
So the current 12-inch diameter pipe in the western part of the property. Sorry, the current 12-inch diameter drainage pipe daylights in the western part of the property.
Correct. Yeah. Correct.
And so if you're increasing the diameter of the pipe, the conduit, and increasing the pitch of it as well. And is there any type of a velocity restriction in the town's?
So the plans we have these storm manholes here. I don't know if that's an issue. But I think that this separator at the bottom of the channel there would act as a velocity restrictor because the water will come in here, will have to fill up the bottom, set the drops, and then it has to rise to the level of the pipe.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Questions, comments? I don't know what you guys think. If you guys think there's need for a public hearing?
Yeah, I would support that.
And I need a motion.
Make a motion to schedule a public hearing for application 22-11W for the January Wetlands Commission meeting.
I need a second.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? See you next meeting.
Who was my second? I'm sorry. Thank you.
Other business, you guys have to look at the schedule of meetings next year. Any problems with the dates? No one else concerned was every night. Was the January meeting? I mean, the July meeting? But I guess they moved it to the 11th, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's not gonna be a problem for the 4th. I didn't see any problems with any of the other dates. If nobody has any problems, I'd like a motion to accept it. We have to get this to the town.
Commissioner Rogan will make a motion to accept the dates for year 2023.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Now, is anybody up for renomination next year? Hope you can put your application in?
Yeah, I have to put one.
Okay. Anybody else? Billy, you up for? Yeah, you probably would have got a letter if you were. I think you would have got a letter. Get a letter saying you're.
Yeah, it came in the mail.
Yeah.
Yeah, the application.
Yeah.
and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm up for re-nomination myself.
Okay, well, I hope you guys, put the applications in because we're shorthanded sometimes anyway, so we need as many people on the commission as we can. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay, good. Thanks, Steve. Jim, my only question is, did you hear from the person on Tollgate Road?
Yes, Mr. Olson, I did hear from him. We've been after him for a number of months, as you know, because he failed to finish the project in terms of the installation of the wetland plantings. He had mentioned a number of times when I spoke to him early this fall that he couldn't acquire the plants that were referenced. So I had a conversation with him and said, well, where were you planning to get them from? He mentioned the vendor. And the fellow is a local fellow that he's working with that used to be involved with Sunny Border. And I said, well, why don't you get something from the distributor or the wholesaler, identifying the fact to us that they're having difficulty in acquiring those specific plantings, which he finally did about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Mr. Olson came in with that. So I encouraged him to make sure that he jumps on it first thing in the spring, to order the plants while they're still available and to get them installed. So he has cooperated, to this point with that request.
Well, that's good. I mean,
Do whatever you want.
Yeah, right, yeah. There's nothing else outstanding, is there, Jim?
No, not at this point. No. As far as the meeting schedule goes, we're required to establish a full year's worth of meetings prior to January 1st, which we did. They're listed as regular meetings, and if for some reason we have to change a date, we can certainly do that. We would just identify that meeting as a special meeting. So yes, we have a full schedule for the year, but technically we're not locked into those dates if something does come up.
Jim, I saw this before. I didn't know how much it pertained to us, but Dave just handed it to me about the solar project in the Britain landfill.
Yes.
I mean, are we getting involved in that at all?
No, we will not. We will not. They have an application before the siting council right now for approval. And they're essentially looking at constructing this, on the upper reaches of the old landfill. So they're quite a distance from, the stream down below.
Right. Yeah, I kind of, when I said the same thing, I said, I didn't think they were anywhere near that.
Right.
And my own other question, I don't know if these guys have read about it or heard about it, I'm sure Dave has, but our lettuce farm on Chamberlain Highway?
Oh, the
Are we gonna be
H2O.
involved in that at all?
Yeah, the only thing I can mention, I know during the public hearing that planning and zoning had this past week, there was one property owner that was claiming that the application should have come before your commission from the standpoint that, you know, he felt there was an aquifer, the potential was there to pollute the aquifer, and he cited a specific section of the town charter mentioning that, you know, the Wetlands Commission is also the Aquifer Protection Commission, and an application should have come before that, before you, which is really not the case. In terms of your responsibilities as overseeing the aquifer protection regulations, those regulations are there to protect the areas within, you know, where we have an aquifer, whereby that aquifer is actually a public water supply aquifer, you know, where public wells are drilled. And the only aquifer that we have that you would regulate is the aquifer beneath what we call our Elton Road well fields off of Elton Road. Berlin Water Control produces water off those wells. They're located just south of the Surveyor Club Pond. And the aquifer there runs essentially from we'll say the Surveyor Club per se, along the west side of the railroad tracks. And it's amazing the way it runs along the tracks, west of the tracks down to Silver Lake. And it's a narrow stretch of, as far as the width of the aquifer. And as far as the regulations go, your commission is charged with overseeing applications that involve industrial and commercial type activities that would be located, you know, within that aquifer area. And think about it, and from the Surveyor Club down to Silver Lake, west of the tracks, we have nothing but residential properties. So typically, we've never actually had an application in the 10 or 15 years that, you know, your commission's been responsible to oversee those regs, because we don't have any industrial commercial type activities within that area. So, you know, if you start getting phone calls from some of the property owners up regarding that project on the Chamberlain Highway, your commission is not there. Let's put it this way: there are no public aquifers in that area that are registered with the state DEP. So I know I was a little long-winded with that, but just in case, you know, you start getting some flack over it, we don't have any responsibility.
Just out of curiosity, who does concern themselves with that aquifer?
With
Planning, so that would fall to planning and zoning to worry about that?
it's more of a design review with planning and zoning, but again, in that area, they're all private wells. So planning and zoning really doesn't even regulate private wells. That would be the Department of Health with the state of Connecticut, and or our regional health district that permits private wells.
So the well owner would have to take some action, I guess. Complain.
And he's not gonna be using that aquifer for anything anyways, right? He's gonna get his water elsewhere?
Yeah, he's getting water from the, they've actually executed an agreement with the City of Meriden Water Department. The City of Meriden, as you know, has 3 reservoirs in Berlin. They're all located, you know, in the Orchard Road, Edgewood Road area. The first one is Merrimere Reservoir, which is really right at the Meriden Berlin town line off of Park Drive. And then you have Halmere, which is on Edgewood Road, and then the Kenmere Reservoir, which is off of Orchard Road. Now, the applicant of what they call the H2O farm, they struck an agreement with the City of Meriden to purchase up to 10,000 gallons of water per day from Meriden. Meriden has what we call a raw water line. It's untreated. It pumps water from the Kenmere Reservoir, which is off of Orchard Road. It pumps it south up to the Meriden has a water treatment plant. if you're driving down towards Meriden Square, when you come into the rock cut, off to the, on the west side there, you'll see a sign that says Elmere Reservoir. And it's probably up about a couple, maybe 100 feet above the roadway, the Chamberlain Highway, where they have a water treatment plant. So this pipeline runs, as I say, runs down along the Chamberlain Highway. And they're going to be tapping into that for, the use of up to 10,000 gallons of water a day. They have a diversion permit. Meriden has a diversion permit where they can draw up to 3 million gallons a day from that, through that line. So when you think about it, 10,000 gallons of water is half of an 18 by 36 in-ground swimming pool. So they're not using, very much water at all. And it's untreated water. So it's,
Where's that pipeline running? The road or off the side?
Excuse me?
Where does that pipe run exactly, out of curiosity, do you know?
It comes down, if you're on Orchard Road, in the vicinity of Peter Parley Road, not Peter Parley, what's the street out there? It's not Peter Parley.
Butler.
No, not Butler. There's a short little street off of Orchard, west of the Chamberlain Highway. The name is Pennybrook. Yeah, thank you, Matt. Pennybrook. Pennybrook Lane. There's a dirt road that leads to the Kenmere Reservoir, and it runs from there. It comes out towards the, so it runs from there, and then it comes out to the Chamberlain Highway in the vicinity of the firehouse, and then follows the Chamberlain Highway down. We have the town has 4 hydrants that we pay $100 a year for the potential use of them to the city of Meriden for fire protection. So if we had a fire, they can pump the raw water from them.
So the line's on the same side as the hydrants.
Yes, it is.
Does it affect Rogan's farm? That's all. That's the bottom line.
Does it affect your farm? In what way?
He wants to know where the line is.
Yeah, it runs down. My understanding is it runs along the gutter of, essentially along the west gutter of the Chamberlain Highway in front of the farm. There's a hydrant, I think, in the vicinity of Heritage Drive in the Chamberlain Highway.
Not digging up their new paved road.
They don't have to. There's nothing going on with that.
They have to get under the highway to tap into the pipe, correct?
My understanding is there was a connection at one point that went up across the street. For what use, I don't know. And I haven't seen that on an as-built plan, but that's what I was told. So they may be tapping into that. If not, yeah, they have to, they'll get a permit from the DOT, an encroachment permit to, cut across the road. Happens every day.
Refuse it.
Yeah.
Nothing, any other correspondence, Jim?
No. I think you had something from the Connecticut River Coastal Conservation District. We put it was a little flyer. I think Lisa copied that for you.
Yeah.
That's really all we have.
All right. If not, there's no other questions. Have a motion to adjourn? Got a second?
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
7:55. Tell Matt hello.
Everybody next year?
Saw you giggling.
Yeah. Matt remembered Pennybrook for me.
All right, Jim, we'll talk to you later.
Thank you.
Okay, take care, folks.
Have a good night, everybody.
Yes.